Hello, everybody. Really excited to be here with you all. Really excited to be talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yes, that is going to be the subject of today's video. I'm going to be reviewing Zack Snyder's Justice League. The Snyder Cut has finally been released, and now we can all watch it, digest it, and talk about it. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So I want to first start off by saying that, of course, there was a version of this movie that was already released. If you don't already know that, in 2017, directed by Joss Whedon. And this movie is the fully realized version of that movie, of course. And so speaking right into it, just speaking really quick, I just want to say, giving my thoughts real quickly on my little quick review of the 2017 Joss Whedon version. I didn't really like that movie. I thought it was really rushed. I thought it was really lazy and it just unenthused, and didn't think it really brought to the table what you would want from a Justice League movie. So I feel like this movie here had a chance to one-up it. And I think that it did. Speaking first, most importantly, I think that the biggest upgrade in this version is the character development. We get a lot more, of course, when you have a freaking 4-hour runtime, a long ass, that's a lot of room to play with. So they definitely, Zack Snyder really did that here with, Aquaman and, Cyborg and the Flash, the characters who up to this point in the cinematic universe we haven't really been introduced to really yet. And I think that, speaking specifically to Cyborg, his story is that's like my favorite part of the movie, to be completely honest with you, is just learning more about him. His story is just so sad and heartfelt and just so personal, and just getting into the whole idea of why he's Cyborg in the first place. It just really makes you feel for him, and you really just kind of feel for him. And, I'd really love to see that here because, like I said, in the first version, you get a little bit of that, but not really much. It's really rushed because, like I said, only 2 hours to introduce all those characters, 4 hours here. But having said that, now that I do like the character development here, I do think that the runtime it's a gift and a curse. It's like the biggest up, but it's just like no, like it's biggest downfall, because like I said, it's not one of those situations where, when you watch a movie, you want to kind of feel like, oh, that was a long ass movie, but it didn't feel that long. That's not the case here. It feels like 4 hours when you're watching this thing, and at times it does like drag a little bit. I'm like, oh man, it's still going. And although, I'm liking a lot of what I'm seeing, I'm just still like, damn, 4 hours. And I do know that this movie was originally intended to come out as a mini series. That might have served it well, but we're not here to talk about that. It's a movie. It was released like that, so that's why we're here. And I just think that, yeah, it just felt really long. And, like a lot of the action sequences, we got a lot of new stuff that we hadn't seen before, but there was a lot of additions to what we had already seen, to a lot of the action sequences. Speaking specifically, I'll just give you one example without getting too spoilery here. Speaking in the first act, when Steppenwolf steals the mother box from Themyscira, in the first version, it's like it goes really fast. He's like, boom, takes that shit and goes. But in this one, it's like a whole action sequence, like a whole scene of like, it felt like 15 minutes. It might have been, but he's like chasing the Amazons, that like keeping it from him. And it's just this cat and mouse game, and he's kicking their ass. And, it was really cool to see. And I was liking that. But as the movie goes on, I'm seeing like, oh, they're doing that with like so much more. Like when you there's a lot of scenes, and I think some of them, it's really cool. For example, one scene that I liked in particular that was a little bit longer was, when Diana is telling the story to Batman about Bruce Wayne, about how this the whole apocalypse thing has happened in the first place, and how back in time they had to come back and everyone had to unite, and when they're going through that little story, like I said, that's a whole thing, and it's really played out a lot more than we saw in the first version, which is cool. But that just keeps happening, and there's all these things that keep getting extended, and I'm like, oh well, that's why this movie's so freaking long. Not only because of the character development, now we're having these long ass action sequences that I don't really feel needed to be dragged out that much. Like I said, I think you could have still had told the story that you wanted to tell, and maybe have cut it down. I'm telling you, like 20 to 30 minutes could have probably been cut down from this movie, and it still would have probably had the same impact and just been a much easier watch for viewers. But it is what it is. We got what we got. But still, having said all that, I do think that the movie's good. It's not great. It's not like, I'm not saying that this version is, wow, it's like a classic superhero movie. Not that at all. There's still problems with it. And But I do think it's far superior to the Josh Whedon version that we got, and I can't help but wonder. We live in the world where that movie happened, and now this movie's happening now, the version of it. But it just makes me wonder, because when you look back on the Justice League, the version that we saw in the theaters, the negative reaction, kind of the box office bomb that it was, really played into the DCEU, and it really changed the fate of everything going forward. Because, like I said, they did have a Cyborg movie, they did have a Flash movie, we did get an Aquaman movie in this Wonder Woman sequel, but still, it was supposed to play out, and everything was all set up with this, with Apocalypse and all that, and we eventually we were gonna see another Justice League movie, obviously, and but the negative reaction kind of put a halt to that, and it makes me wonder, had this version come out exactly the way it was, had this come out in the theaters, would it have changed things? Would we have still got would have the Flash and the Flash movie be in development hell? And I don't even think they're still even doing a Cyborg movie, but would it everything have just kind of, the wheels have kept turning if this version had come out? Probably. I think so, because like I said, I think a lot of people, when they see this movie, are gonna be like, damn, the Cyborg, I want to see that. I want to see his story. Or maybe they feel, hey, the Flash, I like what's going on there. I like what he's got going on. I want to see that movie. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. We won't see. We'll never know. But I'm just saying, we'll maybe see in our own minds. Maybe we can all have that conversations with ourselves. I know I can't help but try to come up with those scenarios to think of what would have happened, but like I said, this movie, it's a lot better. It's still not like, I'm not blown away by it, but I'm really glad that we got to see this movie, for better or for worse. I'm just glad that we got to see this movie, because Zack Snyder is the foundation of this cinematic universe. He directed the first two. He directed Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. So now that he's done this, I'm glad that we got to see his full version. So yeah, that's pretty much my review of Justice League. Didn't want to go into spoiler territory, but there's a lot there. Then I can't wait for you all to see it, and I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments and let me know what you thought of this movie. How do you think it compares to the Josh Whedon version? Which one do you think is better? And just judging the film on its own merits, how do you feel about it? Go ahead and leave your comments, and like this video if you like what I had to say or enjoyed my review. And please consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews. California's coming back where I currently live. Movie theaters going to be opening up, so I can't wait to do that. The next movie review is probably going to be excuse the spit there. The next movie review is probably going to be Godzilla versus King Kong. So I really can't. I'm really glad that we're gonna have the opportunity to see that in the theater. So looking forward to that. Like I said, thank you so much for doing this. Do all the fun stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.